The human was supposed to be dead 3 rotations ago. Commander Vex-9 crouched behind the twisted metal of what used to be their primary hunting vessel, purple blood seeping from a gash across his elongated skull. His 6 eyes darted nervously between the shadows of the abandoned mining facility. Somewhere in this labyrinth of corridors and maintenance shafts, Marcus Kane was still moving, still breathing, still making absolute fools of the Hegemony's most elite hunting party. This cannot be happening, Vex-9 muttered, his translator crackling with static. One primitive mammal, one. The irony was not lost on him. For 700 cycles, the Zephyrian Hegemony had turned human hunting into an art form. They would swoop down on isolated colonies, scoop up the best specimens, and release them on carefully designed killing grounds. The humans would run, hide, fight with their pathetic weapons, and eventually die in spectacular fashion, while wealthy Zephyrians placed bets on how long each one would last. Marcus Kane had been hunting season number 412, a construction worker from some backwater mining outpost called New Helena. Nothing special about him according the bioscans. Average height, average build, average intelligence scores. The betting pools had given him 6 hours maximum survival time. That was 18 hours ago. Status report. Vex-9 hissed into his comm unit, trying to keep the growing panic out of his voice. Hunter Prime Kell is unavailable, came the hesitant reply from Hunter 7. As is Hunter 2, Hunter 5, and the backup team. Unavailable. What a delightfully euphemistic way to say dead. Vex-9 had seen Hunter Prime Kell's body himself, the 7-foot-tall apex predator strung up in the ventilation system, with improvised rope made from torn jumpsuit fabric. The human had somehow managed to disable Kell's personal shields, neutralize his plasma weapons, and hang him like a piece of meat. The betting pools weren't laughing anymore. A soft scraping sound echoed from somewhere above. Vex-9's head snapped upward, all 6 eyes focusing on the ceiling panels. His thermal vision showed nothing, but then again, the human had proven remarkably adept at masking his heat signature using the facility's own environmental systems. How? Vex-9 whispered to himself. How is a primitive accomplishing this? The answer came in the form of Hunter 7's terrified scream from 3 corridors over, followed by the distinctive sound of an improvised explosive detonating. Vex-9's mandibles clicked nervously. The human was using their own equipment against them, turning the hunting ground into his personal war zone. This was supposed to be simple. Humans were prey animals. Weak, slow, stupid creatures who panicked under pressure and died in amusing ways. The Hegemony had been hunting them for centuries without a single significant incident. Sure, some humans lasted longer than others. Some even managed to take down a hunter or 2 before succumbing. But none had ever systematically dismantled an entire hunting party. None had ever turned the hunters into the hunted. Base command, this is Hunting Party Omega 7, Vex-9 spoke into his long-range communicator, his voice barely steady. We require immediate extraction and reinforcement. Static crackled back at him. The human had somehow compromised their communication array too. Of course he had. A new sound reached Vex-9's ears. Slow, deliberate footsteps echoing through the facility's corridors. Not running, not hiding, walking. The human was walking toward him with the confidence of someone who knew exactly where his prey was located. Impossible, Vex-9 breathed. Humans don't hunt. They are prey. They are supposed to be prey. But Marcus Kane had apparently never read that particular xenobiology textbook. Vex-9 activated his personal cloaking device and began moving through the facility, his weapon systems primed and ready. He was still the superior life form here, still the apex predator. One lucky human couldn't possibly overcome 700 cycles of evolutionary advantage. The footsteps stopped. Everything went silent, except for the facility's ambient hum and Vex-9's own increasingly rapid breathing. He pressed himself against a bulkhead, trying to control his growing terror. This was wrong. All wrong. Humans were supposed to cower and flee, not stalk through darkened corridors like some kind of nightmare predator. You know what's funny about your species? The voice came from directly behind him. Impossible. His sensors showed nothing there. Vex-9 spun around, plasma rifle raised but found only empty air. You have been hunting humans for so long, you forgot something pretty important. The voice was calm, conversational even. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Vex-9's 6 eyes darted frantically, searching for any sign of movement. What? Vex-9 demanded, his translator turning his fear-pitched clicks into recognizable speech. What did we forget? A soft chuckle echoed through the corridor. Humans don't just get hunted, Commander. We also do the hunting. The lights went out. In the absolute darkness that followed, Vex-9 heard the soft whisper of something moving through the air. His enhanced hearing picked up the subtle sound of fabric brushing against metal, the quiet intake of breath, the almost imperceptible shift of weight from one foot to another. Marcus Kane wasn't just hiding in the darkness. He was part of it. Vex-9 fired blindly, his plasma bolts illuminating the corridor in brief, strobing flashes. Each burst of light revealed nothing but empty space and dancing shadows. His weapon's power cell was draining rapidly, and with each missed shot, his panic grew stronger. Motion detectors, thermal imaging, electromagnetic sensors. Marcus's voice continued, seemingly unaffected by the weapon's fire. All that fancy technology, and you never learned to hunt the old-fashioned way. Something touched Vex-9's shoulder. He spun around with a shriek, firing directly at the contact point, but his plasma bolts struck only the wall. The touch had been gentle, almost casual, like someone tapping him to get his attention. See, your species evolved as ambush predators, Marcus continued, his voice now coming from a completely different direction. Sit in one spot, wait for prey to wander by, then pounce. Very efficient on your home world, I'm sure. Vex-9 was hyperventilating now, his respiratory system struggling to process the facility's oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere under extreme stress. He backed against a wall, weapon sweeping back and forth across the darkness. But humans? The voice was closer now, much closer. We are persistence hunters. We don't give up, ever. We track our prey across continents, follow them for days, weeks, months, if necessary. We don't stop until we get what we came for. What do you want? Vex-9 screamed into the darkness. Simple, Marcus replied, and Vex-9 could hear the smile in his voice. I want off this rock, and you are going to help me. Emergency lighting flickered on, bathing the corridor in dim red illumination. Vex-9 found himself face to face with Marcus Kane, who was standing less than 3 feet away, completely relaxed, hands clasped behind his back. No weapons visible, no threatening posture, just a middle-aged human in a torn jumpsuit, looking at him with curious brown eyes. How? Vex-9 whispered. How did you do this? Marcus tilted his head slightly. Do what? Kill your hunting party? Disable your equipment? Turn your own facility against you? He shrugged. 20 years in construction teaches you a lot about how things work. Buildings, machines, people. You learn to spot weak points. You are just a construction worker. Was, Marcus corrected. Now I'm something else entirely. His expression hardened. You made me something else when you killed my crew, destroyed my home, and decided I'd make good sport for your entertainment. Vex-9 raised his weapon, but found his hands shaking too badly to aim properly. The hegemony will send more hunters. They will never stop coming. Let them come, Marcus said quietly. I will be waiting. The human's confidence was terrifying. This wasn't bravado or desperation talking. This was the calm certainty of someone who had discovered exactly what they were capable of and found it satisfying. Your ship, Marcus continued. Where is it? I won't tell you, Vex-9 managed, though his voice cracked on the words. Marcus smiled, and for the first time since this nightmare began, Vex-9 saw genuine warmth in the expression. It was somehow more frightening than any threat could have been. Commander, Marcus said gently. "You seem to be under the impression that you have a choice in this matter." The lights went out again. When they flickered back on 30 seconds later, Vex-9 was alone in the corridor. His weapon gone, his communication equipment dismantled and scattered across the floor. A message had been carved into the metal wall beside him with what appeared to be his own plasma knife. "Hunting season is over." The human was gone, vanished as completely as if he had never existed. But Vex-9 could still feel those brown eyes watching him from somewhere in the darkness, patient and implacable and utterly terrifyingly human. For the first time in 700 cycles, the Zephyrian Hegemony had encountered something they couldn't hunt. Something that hunted them back. 3 days later, Admiral Thex Prime received the most disturbing report in Hegemony military history. "Sir," his aide whispered, mandibles clicking nervously, "we have lost contact with Hunting Party Omega-7. Admiral Thex Prime didn't look up from his strategic displays. Hunting parties went silent sometimes. Equipment failures, communication blackouts, the occasional prey animal getting lucky. These things happened. Send a recovery team," he ordered dismissively. "Sir, we already sent 2 recovery teams." That got the Admiral's attention. His 4 arms stopped moving across the holographic displays, and all 8 of his eyes focused on the trembling aide. "Explain." Recovery Team Alpha went silent 6 hours after arrival. Recovery Team Beta lasted 4 hours before their emergency beacon activated, then went dark. The beacon transmitted for exactly 43 seconds before being destroyed. Admiral Thex Prime felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Uncertainty. "How many Hunters have we lost?" 37, sir, including 2 Hunter Primes and a full tactical assault squad. To 1 human. The aide's silence was answer enough. Admiral Thex Prime stood slowly, his massive frame casting shadows across the command deck. In his 300 years of service, he had overseen the subjugation of 47 worlds and the extinction of 12 species. Nothing in the galaxy frightened him. Until now. "Prep my personal battlecruiser," he ordered. "Full crew complement, heavy weapons package, elite guard detachment." "Sir, surely 1 human cannot require such measures." Admiral Thex Prime's laugh was cold and humorless. "Aide, if 1 human has eliminated 37 of our finest hunters, then clearly our understanding of humans requires immediate revision." Meanwhile, Marcus Kane was having the time of his life. He stood in the control room of the captured Hegemony vessel, surrounded by alien technology that should have been incomprehensible to a simple construction worker. Should have been. But Marcus had always been good with his hands. Good at figuring out how things were, and alien technology, it turned out, wasn't that different from human technology, just bigger, flashier, and considerably more violent. "Let's see what we have here," he muttered, running his fingers across the ship's weapon systems interface. The holographic displays responded to his touch, cycling through targeting options and firing solutions. Plasma cannons, particle beams, something called a molecular disruptor. He grinned. Christmas morning. The ship's AI spoke to him in perfectly translated English, its voice crisp and emotionless. "Warning, unauthorized user detected. Security protocols engaged." "Yeah, about that," Marcus said, pulling a tangle of wires from beneath the console. "I made some modification." Sparks flew as he connected 2 power conduits that were definitely not supposed to touch. The AI's voice crackled with static for a moment, then resumed with a noticeably different tone. "Security protocols disengaged. Welcome aboard, Captain Kane." "That's better." Marcus leaned back in the command chair, which had been designed for someone with twice as many limbs, but was surprisingly comfortable once you ignored the extra armrests. "Now, let's talk about your friends who are probably on their way to kill me." The ship's sensors were considerably more sophisticated than anything humans had developed. Marcus could track incoming vessels from several star systems away, analyze their weapon configurations, even intercept their communications. What he learned was both amusing and terrifying. The Hegemony was scared, really, genuinely, pants-wettingly scared of one human with a bad attitude and a talent for improvisation. Admiral Thex Prime's personal battlecruiser, Marcus read from the intercepted transmission. Crew of 200, enough firepower to level a small moon, and they are all coming for little old me. He chuckled. I'm flattered, but Marcus Kane hadn't survived the last week by underestimating his enemies. The hegemony had been the dominant force in this sector of space for over a millennium. They didn't achieve that position by being pushovers. Time to even the odds. The first thing Marcus did was study the hunting facility's record. Every hunt, every human, every kill, all documented in meticulous detail for the entertainment of hegemony elite. The files made for disturbing reading, but they also revealed crucial information about hegemony tactics, weaknesses, and psychology. They were bullies, sophisticated, technologically advanced bullies, but bullies nonetheless. They preyed on the weak, avoided fair fights, and had grown complacent after centuries of easy victories. Marcus was about to teach them why that was a mistake. Computer, how long until Admiral Thex Prime arrives? Current projections indicate arrival in 14 hours, 37 minutes. Perfect. That gives us plenty of time to set up a proper welcome. The mining facility where Marcus had been hunting was part of a larger asteroid field. Hundreds of rocks ranging from pebble-sized to mountain-sized floating in a complex gravitational dance. Most were worthless stone and ice, but a few contained valuable minerals that had made this location attractive to both human colonists and alien raiders. Marcus spent the next 12 hours turning the entire asteroid field into the galaxy's largest improvised weapon. Using the captured ship's industrial fabricators, he created hundreds of simple devices: proximity mines, gravity pulse generators, electromagnetic scramblers, and his personal favorite, kinetic projectile launchers that could accelerate chunks of asteroid to significant fractions of light speed. You know what your species never figured out, Marcus said to the empty command deck, though he knew the ship's AI was recording everything. Humans don't just use tools, we make everything into a tool. The asteroids became his ammunition. The gravitational fields became his guidance system. The facility's fusion reactor became his power source. By the time Admiral Thex Prime's battlecruiser dropped out of hyperspace, Marcus had transformed a peaceful mining operation into a death trap that would make any military engineer weep with envy. Unknown vessel, came the transmission from the hegemony ship. You are in violation of hegemony territorial claims. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Marcus activated his own communication array. Admiral Thex Prime, I presume? Marcus Kane, formerly of New Helena Colony. You killed my friends. A pause. Then, you are the human. Guilty as charged. Marcus's finger hovered over the firing controls. I understand you are here to collect me for your hunting games. Surrender now, and your death will be swift. Marcus laughed, the sound carrying clearly across the communication channel. Admiral, I think there's been a misunderstanding. See, I'm not the one being hunted anymore. You are one primitive against a battlecruiser with enough firepower to crack a planet. You are absolutely right, Marcus agreed cheerfully. This is completely unfair. He pressed the button. The asteroid field erupted into motion. Hundreds of rocks from fist-sized to building-sized suddenly acquired purpose and direction. They didn't move fast enough to be immediately dangerous, but they moved with the inexorable patience of a landslide converging on the battlecruiser from every possible angle. Evasive maneuvers, Admiral Thex Prime ordered, but his ship was designed for open space combat, not navigating obstacle courses. The first impacts were minor, barely scratching the hull, but they kept coming. Impossible, the Admiral muttered. Asteroids don't move in formation. These ones do, Marcus replied pleasantly. Took me a while to work out the gravitational calculations, but construction work teaches you a lot about moving heavy objects where you want them to go. The battlecruiser's weapons opened fire, plasma cannons and particle beams tearing through space to vaporize incoming asteroids. But for every rock they destroyed, two more took its place. Marcus had turned the entire field into a single vast machine with one purpose: crushing anything that didn't belong. This is not possible, Admiral Thex Prime roared. You are a primitive. A construction worker. Was a construction worker, Marcus corrected, watching the battlecruiser struggle against his improvised siege engine. Now I'm something else. Something you made me. The Hegemony ship's shields were holding, but their power levels were dropping as the defensive systems worked overtime to deflect the constant barrage of kinetic impacts. And through it all, Marcus sat in his stolen ship, perfectly safe in the eye of his artificial storm. "You want to know the difference between your species and mine, Admiral?" Marcus asked, his voice calm despite the cosmic destruction swirling around them. "You hunt for sport, we hunt for survival. And when something threatens our survival, we don't stop, we don't give up, we don't show mercy." An asteroid the size of a city block slammed into the battlecruiser's port side, finally overwhelming the shields. Atmosphere vented into space, as hull plating buckled and tore. "We become the thing that hunts you back." Admiral Thex Prime's ship was dying, its crew scrambling to contain hull breaches and system failures. But the Admiral himself was staring at his tactical displays in something approaching awe. "How?" he whispered. "How did you do this?" Marcus's reply was quiet, almost gentle. "I learned from the best teachers in the galaxy, your own hunting records. 700 years of human behavior under extreme stress, all carefully documented for your entertainment." The Admiral's blood ran cold as understanding dawned. "You studied every hunt, every kill, every moment of human desperation your species found so amusing." Marcus's voice hardened. "Did you know that 73% of your human prey attempted to negotiate before fighting? That 41% tried to bargain with information about human colonies. That 97% died begging for mercy you never intended to give." Another massive impact shook the battlecruiser. Emergency klaxons wailed throughout the ship. "But there was one statistic that really caught my attention, Admiral. In 700 years of hunting humans, exactly 0% of your prey ever gave up hope. Right up until the moment they died, every single human kept looking for a way to fight back, to escape, to take at least one hunter with them." Marcus leaned forward in his command chair, his brown eyes reflecting the light of distant explosions. "You taught me that humans never surrender, and now you are going to learn what that really means." The final phase of Marcus's trap activated. The remaining asteroids, guided by gravitational pulse generators he'd hidden throughout the field, converged on the crippled battlecruiser in perfect synchronization. It was beautiful, in a terrible way, like watching a flower bloom. If flowers were made of rock and death and the screams of 200 alien sailors. Admiral Thex Prime's ship imploded under the pressure, its hull collapsing like an empty can. The explosion was brief and bright, a momentary star that illuminated the asteroid field before fading into memory. Marcus sat in silence for a long moment, watching debris drift through space where the most powerful warship in this sector had been floating minutes before. "Computer," he said finally, "set course for Hegemony space. Destination unclear. Please specify target." Marcus smiled, and there was nothing human left in the expression. It was the grin of something that had learned to hunt in the darkness between stars, something that had discovered the galaxy was full of prey that had forgotten what real predators looked like. "All of it," he said. "We are going to visit all of it." The captured ship turned toward the heart of Hegemony territory, its human captain already planning his next lesson in the fundamental difference between hunting for sport and hunting for survival. But Marcus Kane was not done with his current lesson. "Computer, scan the debris field. Any survivors?" "Affirmative. Detecting 17 life pods with active occupants. Estimated survival time 4 hours, 23 minutes. Marcus leaned back in his chair, considering. The smart thing would be to leave them to die in the cold vacuum of space. Quick, clean, efficient. But Marcus had learned something important during his transformation from prey to predator. Sometimes the message was more important than the kill. "Bring them aboard." "Sir, that could be dangerous. Hegemony survivors may attempt to retake the ship." "Computer," Marcus said with amusement, "if I was worried about danger, I'd still be hiding in the mining facility waiting to die." The ship's tractor beams activated, drawing the escape pods into the cargo bay one by one. Marcus made his way down to meet his guests, stopping by the armory to collect a few insurance policies. Not that he expected trouble from a bunch of shell-shocked alien sailors, but his construction foreman had always said, "Measure twice, cut once, and always carry a backup plan." The cargo bay was a study in controlled panic. 17 Hegemony crew members huddled in their life support gear, their various alien physiologies all displaying the universal signs of fear. 4 armed navigation specialists, 6-eyed weapons officers, the massive engineering cast with their chitinous armor, plating. All of them staring at the human who had just destroyed their supposedly invincible battlecruiser. "Good afternoon," Marcus said pleasantly, his voice carrying clearly through the bay's atmosphere. "I'm Marcus Kane. You probably know me as Target Number 412. The survivors pressed closer together, instinctively seeking comfort in numbers. One of them, a senior officer judging by his elaborate uniform markings, stepped forward with admirable courage. "You will be hunted," the officer declared, his translator rendering his words in perfect English. "The hegemony will never stop. They will send fleets, armies, entire battle groups to destroy you." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "Probably. Your species does seem to have trouble letting go of old habits." He gestured around the cargo bay. "Speaking of which, I have been reading your hunting records. Fascinating stuff." He pulled out a data pad, scrolling through files with casual interest. "Let's see here. You, Navigation Officer Gex-12, you placed bets on how long human children would survive in the hunting grounds. Apparently you had quite the winning streak." Gex-12's mandibles clicked nervously. The other survivors began backing away from him. "And you," Marcus continued, pointing at a massive engineering tech specialist Bran 4, "you volunteered for the cleanup crews. You know, the ones who collected human remains for the trophy room." The engineering tech tried to speak, but no words came out. "Now here's what's going to happen," Marcus said, his voice still conversational but with an edge that made everyone in the bay freeze. "I'm going to let you live. All of you. You are going to take a message back to your hegemony leadership." Hope flickered in 17 pairs of alien eyes. "The message is simple. Hunting season is over, permanently. Any hegemony vessel found within 50 light-years of human space will be destroyed. Any hunting facility, any slave market, any location where humans are being held against their will be eliminated." The senior officer found his voice. "You are one human. The hegemony spans thousands of worlds." Marcus smiled. "You are absolutely right. I am just one human. But you know what's interesting about humans? We are social creatures. We share information. We learn from each other. We adapt." He activated a holographic display showing star charts, shipping routes, and military installations. "Your ship's computer has been very helpful. I now have the locations of every hegemony hunting facility, every supply depot, every command center in this sector." The alien stared at the display in growing horror. "More importantly," Marcus continued, "I have the communication codes to contact human resistance cells, slave populations, and underground networks throughout hegemony space. Turns out, 700 years of hunting humans didn't eliminate our species. It just taught us to hide better." He zoomed the display to show a complex network of connections spanning multiple star systems. "There are millions of humans in hegemony territory, most of them slaves, prisoners, or refugees. All of them angry, all of them waiting for someone to show them how to fight back." Navigation Officer Gex-12 was staring at the display with the expression of someone watching his own execution. "You mean to start a rebellion?" "Start one?" Marcus laughed. "Officer, the rebellion started the moment your species decided humans would make good hunting targets. I'm just going to give it some professional guidance." He walked over to one of the cargo bay's viewports, gazing out at the debris field that had once been the hegemony's most powerful warship. "You see, your species made a fundamental error in judgment. You assumed that because humans seemed primitive, we were easy prey. But being primitive doesn't mean being simple." Marcus turned back to face his captive audience. "It means being adaptable. It means learning fast. It means turning whatever you have at hand into whatever you need to survive." He gestured at the alien technology surrounding them. "Your ship, your weapons, your computer systems, your communication networks, all of it is now working against you, because that's what humans do. We take your tools and make them better." The senior officer's voice was barely a whisper. "What do you want?" "Justice," Marcus replied simply. 700 years of payback. And I want your leadership to understand that they have a choice. They can end the hunting programs voluntarily, release all human prisoners, and withdraw from human space. Or they can learn what it feels like to be the prey. They will never agree to such terms. Marcus shrugged. Then they will learn the hard way. And honestly, after what I have seen in your hunting records, I'm kind of hoping they choose the hard way. He activated the cargo bay systems, preparing to launch the escape pods. You have 4 hours of life support remaining. There's a Hegemony patrol station about 3 hours away at maximum burn. I suggest you get moving. As the survivors scrambled back into their pods, the senior officer turned back to Marcus. Why let us live? Why not simply kill us and be done with it? Marcus considered the question seriously. Because dead messengers can't deliver message, and because, unlike your species, I don't kill for entertainment. The escape pods launched one by one, tiny lights disappearing into the darkness between stars. Marcus watched them go, already planning his next moves. The Hegemony would receive his message within days. Their response would tell him everything he needed to know about how this war was going to proceed. Computer, set course for the Keltar system. Maximum stealth configuration. Destination confirmed. Estimated travel time 6 days. 14 hours. Marcus made his way back to the command deck, settling into the captain's chair that was becoming increasingly comfortable. The Keltar system contained one of the largest human slave populations in Hegemony space. According to the ship's records, thousands of humans working in orbital factories, mining asteroids, maintaining the infrastructure that kept the Hegemony's war machine running. They were about to get a very different kind of manager. Computer, begin compiling detailed files on Hegemony military doctrine, tactical preferences, and command structure. Cross-reference with human resistance activities in the target system. Compilation initiated. Estimated completion time 4 hours, 12 minutes. Marcus smiled as he settled in for the journey. The Hegemony thought they understood warfare because they had bigger ships and more advanced weapons, but they had never faced an enemy that could turn their own strength against them, that could adapt and improvise and refuse to quit, no matter how hopeless the situation appeared. They were about to get a very expensive education in human warfare, and Marcus Kane was looking forward to being their teacher. Behind him, the asteroid field returned to its ancient dance, patient and eternal, now carrying the wreckage of alien ambitions and the promise of a war that would reshape the balance of power in this corner of the galaxy. The hunters had become the hunted, and the lesson was just beginning.